Hey everybody, welcome to week 35. I'm 35 weeks and 6 days, and just wanted to make sure I got this video up. I do want to start with just a little bit additional information on week 34 though. I was going to post another video, but never got around to it. I did my last week vlog on Friday as well, and that night I ended up going to the hospital. I'd had for quite a few hours, like 3 or 4 hours, I kept having some back pain in my right side. And then by that night, I started having just some pain in my stomach. And I felt like my uterus was really, really tight, really hard. And I didn't think they were contractions because I didn't ever feel the release. Like, I felt the tightening, and it just seemed to stay tight. It didn't ever, release. So, but I went to the hospital. They took me up to the labor and delivery floor. They hooked me up to the machines. And I guess I was having, some contractions. Once, because we had to wait a little while because there was, 2 emergency C-sections and some other stuff going on. Once we actually got hooked up to the machines, I only had 2, and we were there for, 6 hours. But I started to feel a lot better, so I assumed that that's what was going on before it. Which they pretty much said they were probably just like the Braxton Hicks contractions. The only other thing that kind of irritated me is when I first got there, they did a urine sample. The nurse that they had there was not very patient friendly at all, and I kind of have a feeling that she was the extra last resort kind of person because everybody else was busy. Because when we'd gone up there before to do a non-stress test the one time, the nurse was great, and we've had a couple different experiences, some of the classes and stuff we've taken with the nurses in that unit, and they've all been really great. But this nurse, she had a really hard time finding the heartbeat with the non-stress test thing, and she just wouldn't be patient enough to wait for it. You have to move it slow because as soon as you hear it, you have to just wait, and she was moving all over, and so literally we're there for 6 hours. At one point, I just said enough is enough. We're going home. I mean, she could, and the thing is, she got a Doppler. She could hear the heartbeat fine with a Doppler, so it's not like there was a problem. Plus, at that point, he was moving all over the place. So it was just a matter of picking it up with that specific machine to be able to record it to give to the doctor. And the other thing is when she did go ahead and check me. And I don't know how accurate what she said was. She said that I was 70% effaced and 2 centimeters dilated. And I don't have a lot of faith in what she said just because when I went to see the doctor this week, he said, that he didn't have a lot of faith in that either. So overall, kind of horrible experience. But I really just hope that that's not the nurse that we get. The other thing that happened, which my doctor ended up being on call that night, and in reality, if I had checked the on-call schedule, I probably never would have went to the emergency room, because, like I said, there's 6 different people in his office, so the chances of him being on call are, not that great, which is good for me because I don't really care for him. But I got there, and I started to say this before, I did the urine sample, and they came back with white blood cells in my urine. And that's the other thing about this nurse. She's like, there was stuff in your urine. Well, what kind of stuff? And white blood cells. And then she told me white blood cells, which there's no white blood cells. That just means, sometimes you have an infection. And, which, your urinary tract infections are very common during pregnancy. But she called the doctor and let him know that. And he wanted to catheterize me and get urine directly from my bladder. And I told her absolutely not. See, to me, the risks of something like that far outweigh the benefits. If he felt like there was enough white blood cells in my urine, then he can put me on an antibiotic, which he obviously didn't feel because he didn't do that. And then that was Friday. Tuesday when I went to the doctor, my urine was fine. So, and when you go through the procedure of a catheterization, there's a good chance you can get an infection from that. So I'm not going to do something like that. But she kind of gave me an attitude and I refused to do that. I just feel like, and I've said it before, that people just really need to take control of their health care. I mean, you need to just not do everything that they want you to do just for the heck of it. You need to have a good reason to do stuff. That kind of leads me into my week 35. Pretty much the main thing that happened this week is we went to the doctor's, and every single time we go, I really, really, really try, and I'm really sorry I look like crap. I don't have much makeup on. I'm not feeling very well today. But I really try to put myself in a good mood and just be like, oh, things will go better this time. And they never do. So we went in first to a non-stress test. Everything was really fine with that. At first, I knew he was sleeping because his heart rate stayed really even and he wasn't moving at all. It was still a really good heartbeat. It was 136 or something. And he just wasn't moving. And the other reason I know that he was sleeping is because they were able to find the heartbeat and hold it there for 10 straight minutes. So, my husband's always the one that holds it. And because when they put the straps on, for whatever reason, it doesn't work. And the nurse came in to check on us after 10 minutes. And I said, I'm pretty sure he's sleeping. She goes, well, the whole point is they have to get him to react, which means when he moves, his heart rate jumps. So they have this little thing they put on your stomach. It's like a vibration and it makes a noise. And, that woke him up. She said she knew it would. It always does. And the only problem with that is that she gets the reaction. He moves all over the place. His heartbeat goes up to 175, 180, which is perfect. That's exactly what they're looking for it to do. But once he starts moving, they can never hold the heartbeat. They can never just catch it on monitor the whole time. So after she got another 5 minutes, so a total 15. She was, she said, I'm going to go check and see if this is okay with him. She goes, don't take anything off, any of the monitors or straps or anything off. She said, because, let's see what he says. So, she went and talked to him, came back in. She's like, nope, he wants smaller. So, she goes, I'm going to try to get another 5 minutes and that's it. And my husband says, he goes, is that, he just wants another 5 minutes? She goes, no, that's what I'm saying he's getting. Because it's just so difficult. Once he's active, he just doesn't... he moves all over and it's too, they lose it all the time, and then once you lose it, it's that much harder, but, so, she got another few minutes, and, I don't know if she ended up actually getting 5 or not, because he was, at that point, he was awake, and he was moving all over the place. So, she got what she needed, and she said it was perfect, it was fine. I did my weight, which weight-wise, I'm up 10 pounds from where I was. So I think that that's really good. I've gained just a total of 10 pounds, which is definitely something that I'll be able to lose, while I'm delivering. I met with him for a minute, argued with him about my blood sugars, and he was really snotty this time. He's like, he asked what they bet. I said, right where my primary physician said they should be. They're 115, 120 fasting. And after I eat 2.5 hours or whatever, I've been checking them, they're 140 to 160. Sometimes even lower. It depends on what I eat. But if I have fruit or something, which I've been trying to eat a lot of fruit, just to have a well-balanced diet. And he's like, well, that's too high. You just have to understand that's too high. And I'm just so irritated. And if I remember to do it, I'll put a link to the American Diabetic Association website, which actually says that you're 2 hours after you're eating, 2 to 2.5 hours after you're eating, your blood sugars under 180 are considered normal. But I'm not going to sit there and fight with him. So, he was obviously in a bad mood. I don't know what his deal was. But I really try hard not to let it upset me, but it does, because everything is always fine. And he started talking on this about, because I asked him again about going early, and it's like he doesn't even want to talk to me anymore. Whatever. So I'm really hoping that he's not the one that delivers. That's all I can say. I just really hope that. So from there we went to an ultrasound, because he ordered an ultrasound because he wasn't happy with the non-stress test, that it was broken up like it was. And I actually saw the nurse on the way to the ultrasound, and she rolled her eyes. This is now 2 weeks in a row where he's ordered an ultrasound, and there's just no need for it. We get in the ultrasound. Everything's perfect, as usual. He scores an 8 out of 8, which is, perfect. Everything was fine with him. She did say my fluid was increased. And she said, now, the ultrasound tech even said that doing them every week is not necessarily a good thing. because she says the measurements and everything tend to be less accurate. Because when he doesn't schedule an ultrasound, like when he doesn't say like next week you're having an ultrasound, they just take whoever's available to do it at that point. So we're not seeing the same person. And she said it's, it's a technique. Everybody does it differently, and it's not an exact science. Like when they measure the fluid and stuff, it's not, it's kind of, there's room for error. And so when she measured my fluid, it was higher than it was last week, but she says that's not to say that it is. It's just this is how I measure it, and the other person could have measured it differently, or it could be that high. She says, we really don't like to do them every week just for this reason, because there's just a much higher rate of error. They measured him, and she was getting about 6.5 ounces, or 6 pounds, 5 ounces, which again, she said that's another thing. There could be room for error, but still, he's not a big baby. He's pretty much right on target. That's pretty much it. We got a couple more pictures. And she did say, and the good thing is, we really like this lady that we went to this time, not so much the one that we had the ultrasound with the last 2 times, because she's just, I think, a little bit more practical, and I just tend to like more practical people. And she said, there are benefits to the additional fluid, and there are negatives to additional fluid. There's no, and even the doctor said this, there's no, the fluid in itself doesn't necessarily mean that anything is wrong or that there's any problems. And she actually said that babies that come from where they have more fluid, they tend to be stronger because they're not as cramped up. Like his arm strength and everything will be that better. It can be better than that of a baby that has the right amount of fluid, because he can move, where other babies at this point are a little more cramped. She also said it, the only problem with the fluid is it can cause you to go early, which I'm 36 weeks tomorrow, so I'm not really that concerned with at this point. And she said the other thing is it can cause you to go late and have to be induced, because they float so much they don't ever bear down, which is, them pressing against your pelvis and everything is what causes you to dilate and everything, which I think I'm already starting to dilate a little bit. Obviously, I'm starting to become a little effaced, even from the ultrasounds, so I'm not overly concerned that that's the issue either. So that is pretty much that. We had my baby shower. That's what this mess is behind me. I mean, these are cushions for our couch we have to replace, but we had our baby shower, got a lot of nice stuff. There's still a few things we have to buy. I'm going to try to get out and do some shopping tonight. It's not as easy as it sounds anymore. I'm just so tired. I have no energy at all, and it's just like the littlest things take a lot out of me. So we're just kind of waiting at this point. I think that I will go early, but I'm hoping to make it to 37 weeks. But I'm definitely not as concerned as I was at 34 weeks when they told me I'd go, a little early, because I think at this point he's, he would be fine. So that's that. I hope everybody's having a really good week, and I will update you next week. Talk to you later. Bye.